Right now, inside your knees, your hips, your spine, there are cells that refuse to die. They are not healthy, they are not working. They should have been destroyed years ago, but they are still there, sitting, waiting, and every single day they are quietly poisoning the cells around them. Scientists have a name for them. They call them zombie cells. And in the last few years, researchers have discovered something that sounds like it belongs in a horror movie. These cells don't just sit quietly and do nothing. They release a slow chemical signal, almost like a distress flare, that tells nearby healthy cells to start breaking down too. One damaged cell, turning its neighbors into damaged cells. If that sounds like an infection, in a strange way, it kind of is. Except this isn't a virus. This isn't bacteria. This is something your own body created and can't get rid of. Stay with me for the next few minutes because what scientists found next changed the way doctors think about aging, joint pain, and even diseases we thought were completely unrelated. And if this is your first time here, hit subscribe because this channel is all about uncovering what's really happening inside the human body, the parts they don't teach you in school. So let's go back to the beginning. Let's talk about what these cells actually are and why your body keeps them around in the first place. Every day, your body produces billions of new cells: skin cells, joint cells, muscle cells, blood cells. And every single one of them has a job: grow, function, and eventually die, making room for a fresh one. This is normal. This is healthy. This is how your body stays young at the cellular level. But sometimes a cell gets damaged, maybe from stress, maybe from sun exposure, maybe just from age. And when that happens, the body has a built-in safety system. That cell is supposed to either repair itself or shut down completely and get cleared away. For most of your life, this system works perfectly. You don't even notice it happening. Trillions of these tiny replacements happen in total silence. But here's where things get disturbing. As you get older, some of these damaged cells stop following the rules. Instead of dying like they're supposed to, they enter a strange in-between state. Not alive in a healthy sense, but not dead either. Scientists call this state senescence. But online, researchers gave it a much more chilling nickname: zombie cells. And just like in the movies, they don't stay quiet for long. What scientists discovered next shocked even the researchers studying it. These zombie cells don't just sit there uselessly. They start leaking out a cocktail of inflammatory chemicals into the space around them. Scientists call this the senescence-associated secretory phenotype. But you can think of it much more simply. Imagine one room in a house starts leaking toxic gas. At first, it's contained, but slowly, it starts seeping into the walls, into the air vents, into every other room in the house. That's what's happening inside your joints, right now, if you're over the age of 30. A single zombie cell can spread its damage to dozens of healthy cells nearby, convincing them, essentially, to give up too. And here's the part that should genuinely concern you. Researchers studying knee and hip joints found that the cartilage tissue of people with osteoarthritis contains significantly higher concentrations of these senescent cells compared to healthy joints. Not a small difference, a dramatic one. Which raises a question that even scientists are still wrestling with. Is joint pain, the stiffness, the aching, the "it's just age" feeling we've all been told to accept, actually being driven by an army of zombie cells slowly poisoning the tissue around them? But that wasn't even the real shock, because when scientists looked closer, they found something that completely changed the conversation. It wasn't just joints. The same zombie cells were showing up in lung tissue, in skin tissue, in blood vessels, in the brain. Researchers began connecting senescent cell buildup to conditions ranging from arthritis to type 2 diabetes to certain neurodegenerative diseases. Suddenly, this wasn't just a joint problem. This was looking like one of the hidden engines behind aging itself. And this is where everything changed. In 2011, a team of researchers ran an experiment on mice that sounds almost too simple to matter. They genetically engineered the mice so that scientists could selectively destroy senescent cells, essentially clearing out the zombies, while leaving healthy cells completely untouched. The results were almost unbelievable. The mice that had their zombie cells cleared developed cataracts later. Their muscles stayed stronger. Their fat tissue functioned more like younger tissue, and critically, they showed delayed onset of age-related issues compared to mice that still carried their zombie cells. Let that sink in for a moment. By removing one specific type of damaged, non-functional cell, researchers slowed down multiple signs of aging at once, not by adding something new to the body, by removing something that shouldn't have been there in the first place. This sparked an entire new field of research. Scientists started racing to find substances that could do in humans what that experiment did in mice. They gave these substances a name: Senolytics, compounds that selectively target and clear out senescent cells. And here's where the story gets personal for every single person watching this. Some of the most promising senolytic compounds discovered so far aren't exotic laboratory chemicals locked away in some pharmaceutical vault. They're things you've probably eaten this week, without knowing what they were actually doing inside you. One of the most studied is a natural plant compound called Fisetin. It's found in foods like strawberries, apples, and persimmons. In laboratory studies, Fisetin has been shown to reduce the number of senescent cells in animal tissue, and researchers are now studying its effects in early-stage human trials, particularly looking at markers of inflammation linked to senescent cell activity. Another compound, quercetin, found naturally in onions, capers, and certain teas, has been studied in combination with other senolytic agents for similar effects. Now, I want to be very careful here, because this is exactly where so many health claims online go wrong. Eating a strawberry will not instantly clear zombie cells from your knees. That's not how biology works, and anyone who tells you otherwise is selling you something. But here's what the actual research suggests, and this is where it gets genuinely fascinating. It's not about one magic compound. It's about the conditions your body is operating in. Because researchers found something else, something that connects directly to a process you've probably heard of before: fasting. When your body goes without food for an extended period, it shifts into a state called autophagy. The word literally translates to self-eating. In this state, your cells begin breaking down and recycling damaged components, including, according to multiple studies, components associated with senescent cells. Think about that for a second. Your body already has a built-in cleanup crew, a janitorial system designed specifically to clear out the cellular debris that builds up over time. But here's the disturbing part. In modern life, with constant eating, constant snacking, constant sugar, constant stress, that cleanup crew almost never gets the chance to do its job. We've essentially locked the janitor out of the building, and the trash, the zombie cells, just keep piling up. And the deeper scientists looked into this, the stranger and more connected everything became. Because exercise, particularly resistance and high-intensity movement, has also been shown in multiple studies to reduce markers of cellular senescence in muscle and joint tissue. Not by burning calories, but by triggering the same internal stress response pathways that tell your body it's time to clean house. Sleep deprivation, on the other hand, has been linked to increased senescent cell markers and elevated inflammatory signaling, the same chemical distress flares we talked about earlier. So when you put it all together, a picture starts to emerge, and it's a picture that should make you stop and think about your entire daily routine. The zombie cells inside your body aren't some random, unstoppable curse of aging that just happens to you. They are, in part, a reflection of how your body is being treated. Every skipped workout, every night of broken sleep, every meal eaten not because you're hungry, but because the clock said it's time to eat. Each of those moments may be quietly removing your body's chance to clear out the damage that's accumulating, cell by cell, day by day. And here's the bigger implication that researchers are only beginning to fully grasp. If senescent cells are connected not just to joint pain, but to inflammation throughout the entire body, then the stiffness you feel getting out of bed in the morning might be the same underlying process connected to brain fog, to slower healing, to that constant low-grade feeling of being older than you should feel. Different symptoms, same hidden source. For decades, we've treated joint pain, fatigue, brain fog, and slow healing as separate problems, each with their own pill, their own specialist, their own explanation. But what if they're not separate at all? What if they're different windows, looking into the same room? Now here's something that should genuinely unsettle you. This isn't a fringe theory. This is published, peer-reviewed research happening in major universities and labs around the world right now. The pharmaceutical industry is already investing billions into senolytic drug development, racing to be the first to bring a true senescent cell clearing treatment to market, which means in some way, the medical establishment already believes this is real. They're just not ready to tell you yet because the drugs aren't approved, and the natural compounds don't make anyone rich. But while we wait for those breakthrough drugs, the research that already exists points towards something almost uncomfortable in its simplicity. The combination of strategic fasting windows, resistance-based movement, quality sleep, and foods naturally rich in senolytic compounds like Fisetin and Quercetin isn't a miracle cure. But according to the current science, it may be the closest thing we currently have to giving your body's own cleanup crew the green light to get back to work. Not flushing zombie cells out in one dramatic moment, but slowly, day after day, tipping the balance back in your favor. And maybe that's the most unsettling realization of all. We spent so long looking for a single villain, a single disease, a single pill that fixes everything. But the real story might be much quieter than that. It might be about millions of tiny decisions, repeated every single day, slowly determining whether your cells keep renewing themselves or slowly fill up with the walking dead. Somewhere inside your body right now, there are cells that have given up, that refuse to leave, that are quietly influencing everything around them. And somewhere inside your body right now, there's also a system, ancient, built-in, waiting, that knows exactly how to clear them out. The only question is, how long will you wait before you let it? If this video opened your eyes to something you'd never thought about before, let me know in the comments, because there's a lot more hidden inside your body that science is only just starting to uncover. And if you want to keep going down this road with me, hit subscribe, because Dr. Victoria Reed is just getting started.